think whatever a religion is, it has its own dogma. The law is totally different.
September 2017, appointed to be a federal judge by the Trump administration, Catholic law professor Amy Coney Barrett is grilled by the Senate.
And I think in your case, Professor, when you read your speeches, the conclusion one draws is that the dogma lives loudly within you. And that's of concern.
I think it's actually very alarming and disconcerting that some senators, particularly Democrat senators, would try to impose a religious test for a nominee. That's something that obviously our founders never intended when they drafted the Constitution. Article 6 forbids it.
They said no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. And what they did was express the principle that regardless of someone's religious affiliation, they should be able to pursue a public office.
And the fact that these senators would try to use cleverly worded questions to get around that shows just how desperate they are to obstruct these these fantastic nominees.
If you hold politically incorrect views, which are inherent in believing classic Christian doctrines, then you're not fit for office, say some modern secularists. Here's Todd Starnes of Fox News commenting on a classic example of a modern-day elite, in this case Senator Bernie Sanders, trying to impose a religious test on who can serve in government.
Bernie Sanders literally screamed at Russell Vaught from Wheaton College for believing that salvation through Christ is the only way to get to heaven.
Senator, I'm a Christian.
I understand you are a Christian, but this country is made up of people who are not just. I understand that Christianity is the majority religion, but there are other people who have different religions in this country and around the world. In your judgment, do you think that people who are not Christians are going to be condemned?
I wrote a post based on being a Christian and attending a Christian school that has a statement of faith that speaks clearly with regard to the centrality of Jesus Christ in salvation.
I would simply say, Mr. Chairman, that this nominee is really not someone who is what this country is supposed to be about.
Our founders gave us the freedom to be who we are and to have the government totally out of testing whether our religious viewpoints are acceptable. We are to be free from those kind of actions because they represent the Inquisition at its worst in the medieval era.
Critics note that the irony of these secularly imposed tests against religious people is that the founders encouraged religion and morality on a voluntary basis.
I'm reminded of George Washington's farewell address. This is his parting advice to the nation, in which he says, of all the habits and dispositions which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports.
Recently, California Senator Kamala Harris and Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono raked a would-be federal judge, Brian Buescher, over the coals for being a member of the charitable Catholic group, the Knights of Columbus.
Well, all of these senators have really demonstrated a hostility towards religion and its role in the public sphere, specifically in one's profession.
Is being gay a perversion?
Senator, when I was a politician, I had a very clear view on whether it was appropriate for two same-sex persons to marry. I stand by that.
So you do not believe it's appropriate for two gay people to marry?
Senator, I continue to hold that view.
Their questions really demonstrate a mistrust of faith and its role, and what a lot of these questions really ask of the nominees is an affirmation of certain behavior, like the LGBT lifestyle, of the practice of abortion.
We are in a day that evil is called good and good is called evil. We're not only in a day where evil is called good and good is called evil, we're in a day that if you are evil, you are promoted, and if you're good, you're demoted. We're in a day that if you are involved in all types of unscriptural lifestyles, you will be recognized by the highest power.